Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You made me so happy, but yet so very, very sad. It's your boy Krack Diesel, and thank you for visiting the Games on Krack YouTube. This is our review of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But before I get started, if you don't mind, please hit the subscribe button. Click on the bell so you're instantly notified of any uploads from the team. And if you like us, check us out on anchor.fm/GamesOnCrack. That is the Games on Krack podcast. It is explicit, has explicit content, so that is the disclaimer. Check us out on Facebook. Our Games on Krack Facebook group is always a great time. We post memes, video game news. We have discussions in there. Check us out. Thank you for dealing with our housekeeping. Now, full disclosure, Dragon Ball Z is one of my top 3 favorite animes of all time. There's been enough said about the great cast of characters, iconic moments, and influence Dragon Ball has had on the culture at large. But forget all of that. It's for that very reason that this game is so disappointing. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is billed as an open-world action RPG experience, but there's a couple of problems with that. First, calling this game an open world is a huge reach. You're really placed in what could be best described as large, fairly empty fighting arenas. There's a couple of Dragon Ball landmarks that have their own maps. There's cities with NPCs, but they're mostly useless and there to make it look like you're in a living, breathing world. But you're not. You're in a world full of collectibles, and you will be collecting. This game will make sure you collect, whether it's Z-orbs for leveling up your skill trees, D-metals for training, minerals for building, animals for cooking. It's like a platformer nightmare. My dumbass would take time away from the story missions to use Kakarot's questionable flying mechanics to collect a bunch of orbs that I didn't need by the end of the game. These collectibles do eventually unlock rewards in the game's Z encyclopedia, but I didn't care by the end of the game. I was tired of trading in my time for things like bio information on characters I've known for decades now. So that's the first big problem. The second is, this game ain't an action RPG. There's hardly anything RPG about this game. Most stats seem like CyberConnect 2 arbitrarily assigning numbers, and it had no impact on how I approached battles. Even the skill tree had little to do with how I played the game, which made things like that in the community board seem pointless by the final battle. Even digging deeper into the skill trees, most of your characters had the same moves save for character-specific signature moves. Most of the buffs I earned through cooking or permanently through the skill tree made little difference, and I only felt powered up when the game wanted me to feel powered up, which was very frustrating. And that's really a shame because the combat is good. The strength of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is easily the large-scale battles that the anime is known for. In each of the 4 sagas, you'll control some of the main characters depending on the saga. It's the usual cast of characters, but it was cool to have the option to play as them regardless. The controls are, credit to CyberConnect 2, fairly easy to pick up. You have dodges, combos, key blasts, power-ups, and of course your super moves, which you assign based on the progress of your skill tree. There's also times in the game where you'll have 2 AI-assisted teammates, and in my experiences, the AI held its own. They stay out of your way for the most part and will help you pull off a pretty cool ultimate combo if you're paying attention to your key meter. The game runs pretty well, and I didn't have any real performance issues on the Xbox One X outside of a couple of hiccups during some cutscenes. But we have to talk about these loading screens. I believe they've been patched since this review, but they're still unbearable, and the placement of the loading screens makes it even worse. Cutscene, you get a loading screen. Fast travel, you get a loading screen. Beyond that, I was a bit disappointed that the English Toonami soundtrack wasn't included in the game. But I got a soft spot for the OG Japanese soundtrack too. And the voice acting, as usual with Dragon Ball games, was pretty good.
The Mad Daddy of Justice, Super Gotenks, makes his triumphant return!
The spirit of Dragon Ball is showcased well throughout the game. The developer obviously understands Dragon Ball Z, but that's not the issue. The issue lies in the fact that CyberConnect 2 does none of the little things to elevate this from being a good time for Dragon Ball Z fans to a great time for action RPG fans. The needless inclusion of vehicles and time trial missions along with boring side quests in between frustratingly long loading times are just a few of the things holding this game back. And as great as the nostalgia is, we're at a point in time where these same stories have been used multiple times in multiple games. With games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, The Outer Worlds, Persona 5 Royal, and Final Fantasy VII Remake right around the corner, there are much better traditional and action RPG alternatives out there. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot leans a lot on fan service with the occasional smoke and mirrors. It's also constrained by having to stick to old story arcs which offer little flexibility in storytelling. Combat is fun, but random encounters become old quick and almost useless in leveling up unless you eat Mega Mass plates which give you temporary experience buffs. Enemy designs are repetitive and uninspired, and you will undoubtedly get the most mileage out of the main story missions. Everything outside of that just feels like a chore. Even finding the Dragon Balls gets old. And the reward options you have for finding all 7, from resources to Z-Orbs, really just do not matter. I think CyberConnect 2 missed an opportunity to make a truly great RPG by sticking to what was safe. I can say that I enjoyed my experience with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but much of this game's appeal for me was in the fact that it was billed an action RPG. It comes up short in most, if not all, categories when comparing it to its competition. It's great appeal in being able to be in a fully explorable world of Dragon Ball, but once you find out there's not much to explore, the experience goes off the rails. If you're a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z or haven't picked up a Dragon Ball game in a while, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is worth a look. But if you have fatigue on the same sagas being recreated, or you're looking for a great open world action RPG, you may be disappointed. So that is my review of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Let's hit 'em with the score! Games on Krack!
I finally know how to get rid of you. Once and for all.